Hello, diecast community. So this is a very different video, just you can tell by the scale of the vehicle maybe, but it also might be my last video, so if you want to stick around towards the end, I'll explain why. But so what we're looking at is a 1/43rd scale model by, I believe, a brand called IXO. IXO? And they're a Chinese diecast company, and if you go to their website, ixomodels.com or whatever, it's something along those lines, they make everything. Like European cars, Japanese cars, big American cars, and they're 1/43rd, 1/18 scale, so they make a whole bunch of different cool looking models. I was curious about the price value of, 1/43rd versus, say, 1/64, which is the majority of my collection, or majority of my videos as well. So I picked this model up for $15. If you look up IXO 1/43rd on eBay, you can buy models for $11 with shipping included. And then the auctions with shipping included start at $7. So let's see what you can get for, in this case, $15, but it is possible you could get similar quality for less than $10 delivered, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so we got a plastic base here. I don't know how old this thing is because the package looks pretty old. It does have an official Ferrari license sticker there. Oh, wait a second. Actually, within the blister it says there 2010. Alright, so this model is, 11 years old, 10 years old. Okay. Got a little screw apparently. A whole bunch of Italian, French, Spanish, and good old English. Interesting, there's only one screw. Granted, it's a much larger screw than what I'm used to. That's a joke right there in the making if I think about it. Okay, let's see. So this color is like a it's like a dark blue, and this seems to be a die-cast metal. Alright, I guess let's just, let's compare it to the photographs first. So this thing is, well, if you look back at the base here, I didn't even read it off, but Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta corto SWB from the 24 Hours of Le Mans, 1960. I looked up this corto in Google Translate, and it translates to short step. But if you're Italian, maybe you can tell me that actually means short wheelbase. But anyways, that says short step on Google Translate. So the line of 250s from Ferrari of this era, the 1950s and 60s, they were very popular. They're all powered by 3-liter Colombo V12 engines, and they're like 240 to 280 horsepower, I guess, somewhere in that ballpark. And let's see, the development of this specific model, the 250 GT SWB Berlinetta, was handled by Giotto Bizzarini, Carlo Citti, and Mauro Forghieri. Sorry, I'm not Italian, so sorry for butchering those names. I mentioned those three because that same team later produced the infamous Ferrari 250 GTO, which came about in the 60s. Okay. Wikipedia tells me this is the first Ferrari to have disc brakes, so that probably helped it compete. It was a good combination of low weight, high power, and a good suspension that made it really successful for GT class racing. And in fact, the race credentials, it won the 1961 Constructors' Championship in the GT class, and then it won the Tour de France Automobile in 1960, 1961, and 1962. And this is all before the 250 GTOs came over and took over. Okay, so it's got some racing cred. It's a beautiful model. That's also why I picked it up. I'm not aware of this in 164 yet. I saw some AliExpress ads for some sort of classic Ferrari, but the thing was like $80, so $15, versus $80. I'm gonna try this out. So it'll be a good experiment. Anyways, let's see if we focus. Yeah, it looks pretty close. Right, it's got the lamps in the grill, those plastic inserts stacked up, wire wheels actually look pretty realistic because it's a bigger scale. Yeah, okay, that view seems okay. Go with the rear view here. A separate chrome plastic bumper, the 4 chromed exhaust tips coming out. They look a little bit big, it seems. The little side vents there, chrome trimmer on the windows. Well, this one doesn't have this little quarter window here in the front, but I have a suspicion, a lot of these bodies were handmade, so maybe there are some minor changes between each of the models. And in fact, the internet told me that some of these bodies were either steel or some were aluminum. I assume the racing cars were aluminum, but I don't really know for sure. Okay, let's see here. And in the real world, only 176 examples of the 250 GT SWB were made. So let's go here with the dental pick, focus. Alright, so you got a nice Ferrari crest here, and it is wrapping up onto the fender. Seems like it would be in the right place. These wheels, I can't really get good wire wheels in 164, but these don't look so bad. It's unfortunately the silver paint is literally filling in the gaps on some of the spokes where some of it is hollow, so I'm curious if there's air passing between these wheels. Yes, look at that. So those are real wire wheels, right? They're not blanked off in the back. So 143rd can pull it off, and they can pull it off on a $15 model, so that's pretty good. Naturally, it's got some rubbery tires with some sort of tread pattern. It is screwed together with a plastic base, so you can modify it, do a wheel swap or whatever you need to do. And as I mentioned, the separate chromed plastic bumpers are definitely nice. They're not just painted, so they're separate, so that's realistic. The door panel gap. Now, this does seem a bit wide. Granted, it's a bigger scale, but the paint is really filling in this particular part of the gap, so that's not so great. The door handle does stick out, seems realistic enough. The printing itself is a tampo, it's not a decal, so that should be pretty durable in the long run. The silver paint going around the window trim. Alright, top, we got some separate chromed wiper blades, seems realistic. Some sort of strap or something here holding the hood down. It's a separate raised piece of plastic. Printing here, the Ferrari badge seems relatively centered, so that's good. Unfortunately, you can't read it. Oh, well, you kind of can. Yeah, alright. That's not the best printing, but it's not bad. Especially when you factor in the price. Okay, so yeah, the plastic inserted lens is inserted into a chrome plastic ring, so that's very good. And then these little turn signals or whatever, they seem to be plastic as well, including these fog lamps inside the grille, so that's good. There's a little silver paint here on the horse. Looks alright. And then the grille itself is black with this texture. So that's very good. So it seems like this whole grille is a separate plastic piece. And it's inserted into the casting. Alright, let's go to the back. Whoop. So, tail lamps, they're translucent. Both of them are red. I'm not sure if they're like that originally. The photograph had an orange blinker up top, but again, it's possible maybe there were some versions with both red. Now these do look definitely a bit large compared to the photograph, but they're pretty nice. There's a lot of depth into the middle of it, right? So it's a pretty realistic chromed exhaust tip. And they actually chrome twisted tips like on the real car. Back here it's just black steel, I think. Alright. So I think this might be like a light for the license plate, or maybe a handle to open the trunk. And then we do a Ferrari, nicely printed. And then the gas cap is chromed plastic separate piece. It looks good, right? Very nice. Some silver paint here. I think that is painted onto the casting. I don't think it's on the plastic. I could be mistaken, but I feel like it's on the casting. So it's nice to see a different color, like a color that's not black on the interior, so we can actually see some stuff going on the inside. So let's see. We might need some additional lighting though. Alright, so the dashboard we got, I think it's actually tampo printed. I don't think it's a decal because I don't see any of that wrinkliness. So all sorts of instrument gauges there, crossing over into the middle section as well. The shifter itself has a brown knob and it's silvery stock, so that's good. The steering wheel has a Ferrari badge in the middle and silver arms, brown rim, so that's good. Very nice. The seats are relatively plain. It's possible the real seats were like that. What about this side here? A little bit of dust on the inside of that window or something. So distortion wise, I mean it's a molded window, but let's see if we can see the pick on the other side. Yeah, it's still pretty distorted, just the same as in 164. Okay, but again, when you figure it's 15 bucks, I mean this is an awesome model. It really makes you reflect on the price of 164 scale models. This has all the details. I'm trying to think what it's missing. There are no mirrors on the real car, so it's not missing mirrors. I don't know, maybe I could think of something later, but it's pretty much got everything I want in a diecast car. In particular, there's no opening panels, so all the panel gaps look pretty consistent. When I just sit it there, like you would see it in real life, it looks pretty realistic to me. The wire wheels are relatively realistic because there's actually air passing between the spokes. So I'm pretty happy. Now, let's compare it to a Kyosho. This is 164 scale. Similar time frames, I think the 60s. This is, I believe, a 275 GTB. Yeah, so it's a bigger engine. And, I think Kyosho does a decent job. I think you could probably pick one of these up for 10 or 15 bucks on eBay. But when they were brand new, this thing was probably like $6 or $7. So it's decent, actually. That's why I like Kyosho so much. I have a lot of them in my collection. It's still got the lenses, the front and back, the tampo printing. Their wheels are generally pretty good, Kyosho. And they usually have separate chrome bumpers as well. So it's actually on par, I would say. So I would say those are, in today's money, on today's eBay, you could get either one of these models for around the same price. So I guess if you're, constrained on size, yeah, you could go with the Kyoshos. But if size doesn't, if you have plenty of room to store diecast, you're gonna get the real wire wheel effect on a 1/43 scale. So, okay. Now, this is one of my benchmarks for 1/64 scale. This is a SCM. I think it might be SCM model that makes this. But it's a resin, it's a plastic model as well, so that's why it has great detail. But it actually exceeds this one because it actually has photo etch metal parts, holding the hood down. There's a tiny clear windscreen in front of that vent. The Ferrari ring there with the horse, I believe that's a photo etched piece of metal as well. It has plastic inserts, obviously, but this even has headlight covers with lenses behind it. And then this actually has three-dimensional wheels as well, but they're actually made of metal. But I don't know if there's air passing all the way through. Let's get the flashlight and see. No, I think it's blanked off. So yeah, it's blanked off, but this is pretty much the best you can get as far as a wire wheel, I think, in 1/64 scale. So this actually has more detail. There's tiny metal, straps back there, photo etch parts again. Even this weird diffuser looking thing on the bottom is bent metal, and then jeweled tail lamps and all that stuff. So this is a fantastic model, actually superior to the IXO. The only problem is, look up the price of a resin 1/64 scale 250 GTO, and then you'll understand why it should be better, right? So, factoring in the price, this might not actually be a good value compared to that. Okay. Alright, so the comparison to 1/64 is done. I just feel, sometimes with certain brands in 1/64, in particular TLV, their prices are too high. They're charging twice as much as they should. I think this is along the same lines of a TLV, but it's $15. And again, you can buy some for $10 delivered off eBay. So I might have to start. I don't know. Space is the concern. Space is a concern. But if I had a big house or something like that, I wouldn't even bother with 1/64 scale. Because yeah, this is a great model. It is nice. I like it. Okay. Well, anyways, I don't even know if it's gonna fit on my little the solar spinner. But let's try. Oh, well, you know what? It does. So let's let it take one last spin here. While it's spinning, I'll just say, so on a personal level, you know, this year I had to watch my friend die. He was diagnosed with cancer in December, and he died like 2 weeks ago. And so cancer, basically, for him, it was pancreatic cancer, eventually got to his lungs, and that's what killed him. It basically prevented him from eating. You know, every time he ate, he threw it up. So he slowly starved himself over the last 5 months, 6 months. So I naturally went and got a health check, and luckily my health is okay. Yeah, high cholesterol, American diet, you know, that's going to happen. So I got to get my fitness and stuff. But I also have to get a colonoscopy. So a colonoscopy, you know, you older guys probably know what it is. But as you get older, taking a dump is not a fun time. Sometimes it gets really hard, and you sit there and you strain, and people have actually passed out taking a number 2 on the toilet. So it's kind of funny. It's sad, but it's funny. I haven't had that happen yet, which is nice. But during a colonoscopy, they literally give you an anal probe. It's like Eric Cartman from South Park. I'm going to get an anal probe. And they're going to, you know, jam a camera up there and see if there's anything wrong. If there is something wrong, they're going to have to cut it out. So this is a small risk. It's not a, you know, major risk, but some people, they'll bleed out. Which, when I think about it, they're literally going to bleed out their butt, you know, internal bleeding in the butt. So I believe some people have actually passed away having a colonoscopy. It's not common, but it is a risk. So that's the way I just thought I'd tell you guys, because I've been relatively consistent in doing my videos for the last few months. But if you don't see a video in a week, that pretty much means I'm a goner, right? So if that does happen, you never know. I just want to say it's been really fun, you know, learning about these diecast cars. And it's been really fun chatting with all the other people on YouTube. You know, it's nice to have a community of people that have like interests. And, you know, we all like little miniature cars. They're awesome. They're a fun time, right? So I almost feel like I would rather have a miniature car collection than a real car collection. I see some of the YouTube videos with, you know, the Sultan of Brunei. Sure, I guess I would enjoy his car collection because he has the space for it. But it actually gets hard to maintain multiple cars. The most I ever had was like 3 at one time. But it becomes a pain in the butt to maintain even just 3 vehicles. All the oil changes, checking tire pressure, and all that stuff. It's a pain. So I kind of like collecting miniature models, and that's why my channel is called Small Model Collector. Anyways, I'm rambling on, but just want to give you guys a heads up. If you know, if you don't see a video probably next Wednesday, this is my last video. So, I don't know why I laugh. Anyways, I had a good run. It's been really entertaining, my life and all that stuff. So, yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. But hopefully, it'll just carry on next week, or even before next week, I'll pop up some new videos. But, yeah, a couple days, it's anal probe time. Alright, guys, I'll catch you around, hopefully in the next one. Bye-bye.